Well, we are going to get started. It's a cold morning in Chicago. I hope everyone is warm and has a nice cup of coffee and is ready to go. Looks like we're having a slow start to attendees, but there was quite a few of you signed up for this. It always amazes me when I send out my survey for what my fans, constituents, followers like to see, and email marketing continues to come up. I guess we all continue to struggle because it's not a one and done. And we're going to go through what best practices are. So today, as we go through it, we're going to talk about basics of branding, about our lists, about content, about what constitutes spam when it goes through the filters, why mobile friendly is so important, and we're going to touch on automation leading into next month's email marketing automation piece. So here we go. One of the things that I always talk about is the fact that it's amazing how many emails are exchanged on a daily basis. So in 2020, it was 304 billion, and in 2021, it was over 319 billion. Everyone says email is dead because there's all the other, texting, and you can there's WhatsApp, there's all kinds of ways to get in touch. But email is still gives us the most bang for our buck. And we target our audience, and we want to provide valuable information for them so they can achieve your goals. I think everyone needs to think about what they get in their email box, what they like to get and what they don't like to get, and understand that's how they need to be perceived by their clientele. Email, the reason email is so big, everyone checks their personal email at least once a day. The average person checks email 15 times a day. It's on our phone, it's on our desktop, we're always looking at it, we're always getting notifications that it's new. It's our way to keep in touch. And actually, there's times you should just shut it off so you can get your work done, but that's a whole nother discussion. So email is still the best way to communicate with people and market to them. It's a one-on-one as opposed to social, which is finding people and getting them to come to your email list. So when you talk about basics and branding, what we have is we want to use our logo, colors, and fonts. So you as a company have a brand. You know what your logo is, you know what colors you use, which fonts you use. So you should create a template with those so that when anyone looks at that email, they know it's from you. Some people like to change it up a bit, and yeah, that's fun, but they still need to know that that email is from you. It's branding your company. When you're sending it, the email from should always be recognizable. It should be a domain name, because mine is wisecofconsulting.com, and it should be an email address. Now, if you are a bigger company and have more people in it, like a salesperson or a marketing person or someone who does the email, you can have multiple email addresses that it's from, but you should always make sure it's recognizable. So it's not that it changes. Do not use a no reply at your domain. That's just frustrating for everyone. You want them to get in touch with you. You don't want it to go to just nowhere if they're responding to you. We want to create common sense lists to send to. So we know that we're not sending to everyone every time, that we're breaking it up, depending on your business, on what you're sending to. So if let's talk about gardening, or maybe let's talk about pets. Let's talk about a pet store. It's easier because then I can say dogs and cats are different. Dog people are different than cat people. So you need two different lists. That doesn't mean that one person can't be on both lists, but you certainly don't want to send an email about cats to a dog person. They're just going to get annoyed. And the same on the other. So we want to make common sense lists that we put our clients on right from the beginning. Using graphics correctly is very important. We consider it a 60-40 rule, 60% text and 40% image. And this is another spam issue. If you have a PDF that you're using as a flyer and you convert it into a JPEG and just stick it into your email that goes out, a lot of the spam filters will shut it down because it's just a graphic and there's no text in it. So you need to remember that. And we want to remember to proof our email by sending it to our desktop and our mobile and reading it all the way through, because creating it is one side of your brain and reading it is the other side of your brain. And you will catch mistakes when you're doing it when you send it to yourself. Take the time to do that, or send it to another employee to look at, because no matter how many times we proof it, if we're writing it, we read what we wrote, not what actually is on the page. So that's a good tip. So let's talk about lists now. List growth is very important. You want to get your list to grow. You want to make sure more people are coming to your list all the time. And how do you do that? You can do many different ways. We've been challenged these last couple of years while we've been shut in because we can't get everything. So an in-person gathering of the list would be when they're making a purchase, when they're helping something at an event, signing at you have brick and mortar location, or networking with business cards. Where can you get those in-person emails to put on your list? And in print, every time you do something in a magazine or a press release or an article, you want to make sure that there's a QR code that they can just snap and then join your list. Clearly, if you have a flyer, direct mailer, you've already got an address. Hopefully you have your email address also, but it's finding those two ways. But what we want to talk about today is that online strategy, where you're collecting them, where you're putting it out there, and what you're getting in return. So on your website, on social media, in your email signature, any type of virtual networking, during an online purchase they make from you, an event sign up, sponsoring an event, or any type of automation. So just to put on your website, sign up for my newsletter, no one wants to do that. No one wants another newsletter. So if you have a strategy on your website, you're asking them to provide an email address in change for something you're offering them, a download, signing up for something, receiving something free. So you want to make sure that you're capturing that. Always during an online purchase, you get an email address. When people sign up for an event, they give an email address. So figure out what the different buckets are that you're going to bring them in, and then decide how you are getting the most bang for your buck. And when they sign up, are you just putting them on the general list, or are you putting them on a specific list? So let's go back to the pet store example of dogs and cats. Let's say you're offering a free dog collar for doing something, and they have to enter their email address. That email should not go on the cat list, it should go on the dog list. So you have to structure it so it goes on the right list, so you have your lists in buckets. So on average, about a quarter of emails on a list go bad every year. So we're talking about list management, we're talking about bringing people on, but we also have to talk about thinning that list, because as a purchaser of an email platform, you pay per email. And if that email is not getting anywhere, it's a waste of your money. So in 2020 and 2021, it was found that 30% of our email database becomes obsolete over a year. So we have to let go of those contacts. Now, in the platform that I use the most, which is Constant Contact, you can go in and look at all of the emails that were undeliverable, and it gives you different categories, and it tells you which ones to purge very easily. And I know it's always really, really hard to take them off the database, but it's just keeping it clean. And each platform provides that tool. So Constant Contact did a survey on why people subscribe to email newsletters. I don't like the word newsletters. Let's make it lists. They want to learn more about a topic or interest, and they want to stay up to date on that. So what they're signing up for is information that's pertinent and important to them. And you have to remember to provide that for them. If that's why they signed up, that's something you're going to provide. 14% sign up for a free gift or special offer. Some sign up for access that's not available for content on the website, and some because it's recommended by a friend. But if we look at this, it's about information, providing information. I want information. You are interesting to me. I find your company interesting and your topic interesting. I'm going to sign up to get this e-blast and see if I get the information that is important to me. So keep in mind, that's why people do it. So I am going to stop right here, and I am going to launch a poll for you guys. If you will take a minute to fill in this poll, it's 2 simple questions. Do you send emails on a regular basis? And what is the biggest challenge when it comes to email marketing? If you guys could just take a minute to fill in that poll, that would be great. I'll just talk while we're waiting for everyone to fill in that poll. So, and I can see, I'm not surprised at the answers at this point. It's a 50-50 when you say you're doing it on a regular basis, yes or no. And time and content are the 2 biggest challenges that you have, which I can understand. So I appreciate you taking that poll. I'll just share it real quick. It should have come up that showed. And we are going to move on to our next slide. So this is just reiterating where you can collect email addresses, networking events, in person or online. Online should give you a way to do it. I know that a couple of my networking groups let us put it in the chat, and then you can save the chat, and so you can collect information about the people who were there. Webinars or online meetings, the same thing. You collect them when they sign up. If you're going to a webinar, there's no way, forget it if you're giving it. And social media platforms do allow you to collect or send you to a place to collect email addresses. So we always need to look for places to collect them. And I want to remind you, it's about what you are providing to them in return for their email address, because we don't just have one email address anymore, we have multiples. And sometimes that we want something, but we don't want to get emails from them. We give them a different email address or hop right off. So make sure that you're providing what you're saying you're giving when you ask for that email address. So then it's back to focusing on what's in it for them. If you're asking them to sign up and they're getting that exclusive content, I do 2 things. I open it up immediately PDF because immediate gratification is needed. And I also send it to their email address. So I'm providing it in 2 forms. So if they open it up and read it and then close it, they don't have it. And then it comes in their email address. So that's very important. You want to continue the information support. So if you've sent them something free on cats or dogs, that continues to come out in the newsletters that they're getting. You want to show continued support for an organization, and you want to receive promotions and discounts. So those things that you're providing for them, make sure that it's what they need, not what you want to give them. So let's talk about those list segmentations. Why? Because it increases open rates, it increases unique opens, it increases click-throughs, and it decreases unsubscribes and bounces. Bounces you really could happen on any day, so I'm not sure I'm buying into that one, but even though I wrote it. But if I'm a cat person and get a dog email, I'm not going to open it. If I am a cat person and keep getting dog emails, I'm going to unsubscribe because I just don't want that stuff. So keep in mind, how do we put them into categories? Depending on your business, you're going to go for geography, gender, language, business type, website activities, engagement, new versus repeat, preferences, and what their behavior is. Preferences would be cat versus dog. But you need to stop and think about what it is your buckets your clients go into, and you don't have to have a million of them. It's just like making an outline. There's an overarching bucket, and then there's little ones underneath, and all those will go into one. So you want to be sure that you have dug your segmentation starting off, because if you don't do email marketing and you don't start putting them in buckets right away, then when you get 200 or 300 or 400 subscribers, it's too late because you don't know where to put them. Moving on to subject lines, the biggest thing there is, because when you look at a subject line and your mail on your phone or in the mail here, you could think now, later, or never. 3 words, now, later, or never. I want to look at it now. Yeah, I can look at that later, or I swipe to the right and I'm never going to see it because it goes right into the garbage. So we want to make sure that those subject lines are important to the people we're sending them, because you have 2 seconds with 2 or more words, 2 to 5, to get them open it today. And that's what we want to look at. So on the left, here are some topics. March newsletter. That's pretty, it's a March newsletter. I don't have time for a newsletter. I'm not going to read that. But if we write 3 ways to organize your mobile phone, we can help. I might want to take a second and see what those 3 ways are. Do I know them? Is it the same old stuff? Or maybe there's a new idea that will help me. So now I have a reason to open it, not just the March newsletter. And here we have a pet store newsletter. I'm sending them alert, 2 tips to help your dog beat the heat. So I would be concerned about this one, even though I pulled it from somewhere, because the word alert might trigger the spam filters, and we'll look at that in a minute. And then we have children's classes. They're just children's classes. Do I have children's class? No, I'm not going to watch it. But I might want to say that there's still time and there's opening for children's dance classes. I might even want to be specific about what that dance class is, because if I look at it, dance classes, they might like it, but if I look at that it's, jazz classes or whatever classes, I might be interested in opening it. We want to give them a reason to open it. It should not be generic. It should be specific. So keep that in mind. Oh, spam, our wonderful spam filters. So you may not know this, but there is, from the time an email leaves me and gets to you, it goes through 6 to 9 spam filters. And all of these words that you see here on the left, and there's a bigger list, I had to have one that would fit on my screen, are trigger words that they put in their algorithms to kick them into spam or junk mail. It just doesn't mean the junk mail filter that's on your email platform, whether it's an Outlook or Gmail or wherever it is. That's the last filter it goes through. It goes through filters when it leaves my email and then all the way through. So these are words that you should not use. Free, 100% free, affordable, click here. All of these things make spam filters trigger. And if the email title is all in caps with exclamation points, that is another reason that they kick them out. Using punctuations are big. So in my email titles, I never use punctuation except a hyphen between 2 thoughts, if that's what I need, because it absolutely triggers the spam filters. I talked about it a little earlier. The image to text ratio is a big thing. You just don't want to put a picture in with all your text in it, because spam filters don't like that. And a lot of them look at just graphics as spam emails. So you want to be careful with that. They also look at misspelled words. Using a 3 for an E, using a $sign for an S. Those are things that spammers use all the time. Excuse me. And 1-word subject lines, they tend to put flags. Avoid, test, stop, all of those immediately going to get stopped by the spam filter. So keep that in mind when you're writing those. And I should mention too that most of the bigger platforms have a test for spam filters that you can click before you send it out. It will tell you if you need to make some changes. So one of the things we want to do is we want to make our emails real and authentic. If you have a brand and you're your brand and you need to stick to that communication, you want to make sure that your emails that are going out are personalized with a client's name in them, that they are simple and about what the client wants to see and are very authentic. Too many things and too many calls to action and too many things going on in email tend to tire people. We have so much going on in our lives. Oh, excuse me for a moment. At least I can cough in my office and not feel that everyone stares at me. So, no, it's just something in my throat. So we want to be real and authentic with our email. So calls to action. CTA is a call to action. And call to actions are very, very important, not only in our emails, but on our website. They have to be thought-provoking. There needs to be one on every page of our website, just one. And then also just one or two in the email that we send out. We don't want to have 5 different thoughts with 5 different calls to action. A long time ago, when I first started to work for Constant Contact, there was a study done by a florist in Texas where they did A/B testing on an email. Email A had one call to action. There were tulips and it was for Mother's Day and it says buy now. The other one had 3 different pictures of bouquets with prices on them, and each one said buy now and see more. So what happened was I either wanted the tulips or didn't, and I made a purchase. Or if I went to the other one, I started looking around to see what else they had, not just tulips, but plants and roses and daisies and different vases and different sediments. And 10 or 15 minutes after, or maybe 10, let's say I didn't spend 15 minutes. After looking at those, I decide I need to get back to work but don't make a decision. Just like the now, later, or never, it's either buy or not buy. And those are the thoughts you want. Instead of, do I want to look at this one? Do I want to look at this one? Do I want to look at this one? It needs to be very specific. So we want to use action-oriented text. We want to make the text large, 24 to 32 font. We want to keep it very short. Try using the first person like your new book or reserve your spot. Create urgency, 50% off today only. Only have one call to action. And you can do A/B testing to see if this really works for you. But having that one call to action, I either want to do it or don't want to do it, is really a key to getting people to react to your emails. And keep in mind, mobile friendly. Absolutely need to be sure that your email looks good on your phone and you can click it with your thumb. Because everyone looks at stuff on their phone and it never gets past that. When we say we have to keep the key action above the scroll, it means above this part right here. So I usually tell people to put a call to action at the top and a call to action at the bottom, the same call to action, so I don't have to move. Your name should be in text below your logo, because most email platforms that bring it in don't open graphics right away. You have to tell it to do that. So you want them to see that your name here. Short subject lines. This is my name, Virginia. Social media and your business is my subject line. Use a single column template. You don't want it to have to justify. We all are past the emails that you have to scroll around on your phone for. I'm scrolling around on my phone if you can't see that. And we want to keep our pictures so that they justify in there well, though the new platforms do a pretty good job of making that happen. So using larger fonts. So if you wanted to work on the phone good, you should be 22, 24, and 26 font. you want to do that distinct call to action. Don't make your call to action in an image, because what happens if it's in an image and the image doesn't show, so if you put a button on there that says click here, or buy this, or whatever your call to action is, and it doesn't display that, that's a problem. You want to really make it a text link so that they can see it. I know that Constant Contact is now developed. It says a button, but it's not. What it is, it's a cell that's in a table that the back has a color so that it is text, and it always comes into your email marketing. Avoid menu bars. You don't want so much stuff going on that, again, they're making too many choices. Don't stack your links, and test it on multiple devices. So you need to send it to an Android, you need to send it to an iPhone and see what it does, just so you've checked it on there, because so many people look at their email on their phone, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. So now we're back to email automation. You have the ability on whatever your platform is to send out an email immediately when someone joins your list, whatever list it is, whether it's a welcome email or because they signed up for something. But those emails generate 320% more revenue. And why is that? Because when I've joined your list and chose to do something, I said I'm interested. So you need to respond right away, not just have it sent, sit and wait until you can get to it to market to it. So it should send immediately. You should deliver whatever asset they were asking when they signed up. You could welcome them to your store or your business and whatever, and you should set those expectations. It might be an immediate autoresponder, but then you're following it up afterwards, whether it's 3 days, 7 days, or a month. You need to let them know that you'll receive 2 or 3 more emails to give you more information about our business, so that they're expecting them and they're not surprised when they start getting it. We've all signed up for something and we get one every single day, or we get one multiple times a day, and it's just too much and we get off the list. You need to be respectful of the email address, deliver what you say you will, and tell them what to expect. That's very important. So 77% of automation users see an increase in conversions. This is what we're going to talk about next month. Automation to build relationship, using the simple welcome series or simple AR series, and deliver it and invite them to continue to be part of your clientele circle email by giving them the information that they need. So I am going to, let's go back, stop here, and I'm going to open it up for questions. You can put them in the chat or you can put them in the Q&A. And we can, if what your email marketing questions are, I would love to hear from you. You said time and content were issues for you, which I understand. When I do my marketing, I do it, I'm just going to talk while I wait to see if you have any questions. I set up the first 3 months, like my marketing plan for this month, the first 3 months is all about email marketing. This is about best practices, then we're doing autoresponders, then we're doing a hands-on. So in that same aspect, my email letter is going to talk about those things. The blog post I do once a month will talk about those things. The posts on social media will talk about those things. And there may be a couple of other things that I send out, but that's what I'm doing for 3 months. And I have a plan. I know what I'm doing. And I can set those emails up at the beginning of January and have them all go out, or I can do them once a month, the 2 that I go out a month. But I have a plan and I know what my content is going to be. So I don't just have to sit down, I haven't sent an email out in forever and I need to send it out. How am I going to do that? What am I going to do? What is my topic going to be? It just means making that plan so that you're not at a loss for what you're sending out. And your goal may be just to send out 1 email a month. And that's great. So then sit down and make 12 bullet points and say what each email is going to be through the year. That doesn't mean you can't readdress it mid-year. but now you know what the topic is going to be. And a lot of times I know what my topics are going to be. And if I'm reading technology guides or searching that stuff or reading social media posts about SEO or about what Facebook is doing, I will save those articles and put them in a document so that when it's time for me to write content on something, I have some articles to refer to and can help. And I can refer back to that article. I may comment on what the article said and how I view it, and then back it up with something. So let's say I'm writing about SEO, and I read a very interesting article about something that Google is doing on SEO. So I will comment on that. I will send out my email, whether I've written a blog that week or not, and I will refer back to that content and give them a link to it, because if I'm choosing to share that contact, it's from an authority source. It might be from HubSpot, it might be from CNET, it might be from Microsoft, but those are places who have people that they have departments that do this, so they can provide all that information, and doing your research is following up on that. And so sharing what they've said shows that you're an expert and you move in different circles. So that's absolutely fine to use content that you have curated and then tell how it affects your customers, your clientele, or how you would use it. Okay, I talked for about 5 full minutes there. No one has any questions. I appreciate your time this morning. Like I said, next month we will talk about automation and how to achieve that. So even if you aren't writing emails once a month, if you create your welcome AR series and put those 3 in, at least now when they join your list, they're getting 3 emails and you don't have to redo them. They just go out automatically. So thank you for coming this morning. I really appreciate it. I hope you got something about it. If you have any questions at all, please just email me, virginia@weiskopfconsulting.com, right there at the bottom. This will go up probably on Monday to our YouTube site if you want to go back and look at it. Appreciate your time and hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye.